Beautiful morning here in the Isle of Wight. Check this out. View of Bembridge down there. So we're staying here for a week. Up early this morning. Doesn't matter if you're on holiday. Up early this morning into the charts. Not a huge amount happened over the weekend. I've just added a second position to my New Zealand dollar, US dollar short. Extra signal showed up. In fact, saying not much happened, my target on Swiss franc Japanese yen short was hit on the open, I think about 11:30 p.m. last night. There was some gaps on a few of the charts, so that target was hit. So risk-free trade there, profit in the bank. But the thing I'm really interested to see play out is my New Zealand dollar, US dollar shorts. Having added, always a bit of a risk, I think, when you add, but you have to add in line with the rules because it's about leveraging winning positions. So went from a risk-free trade on New Zealand dollar, US dollar to where I now have some risk on. But you know, it's part of the game. You've got to risk to get rewards. So all in line with the rules. So we'll see where we get to. Going to be difficult today. We're off for a fishing trip this morning. So going to be out of action for most of the day. But I'm going to check in when I can on the candle closes I can make. So back at the ranch, had a good fishing trip. How many fish did we catch, Sam? Two, one each at the same time. So we're going to try the fish caught this morning off the Isle of Wight.
Come on, look at me. How is it? Good?
Very good.
Excellent.
So it's 5:30 p.m. on Monday evening, back from a busy day. Went for a fishing trip this morning, which was great, and then had a bit of a tour around. Went to a miniature village, miniature world. Had a really good time there. But yeah, back to the charts. It's kind of the reverse of Friday, to be honest. The China trade stuff, US trade stuff, had taken a turn for the worse on Friday. And the news had sparked me getting stopped out of 4 of my trades. I talk about that in today's blog post, which you can read at stgforex.tv. And this afternoon, there's been the Chinese have come back to the table. As a result of that, there appears to be more calm. They're calling for calm, and I added to my New Zealand dollar, US dollar short this morning. And that is now under pressure as a result of that. There's been some bids in New Zealand dollar. The trend is still down on the monthly, weekly, daily and 240 time frames. Price is under the 200 simple moving average and the 50 simple moving averages. It's bearish territory. The IG sentiment indicator on New Zealand dollar, US dollar is about 74.6% net long. I take the contrarian approach. So the trend is still in play, and price is still within the 50 simple moving average on that chart. So nothing to do. The news has been frustrating. I've got to remind myself today that sometimes the news goes in my favour. It just happens that the last Friday and today it's not gone in my favour, but it's all about holding tight and remaining calm. So I'm going to see what happens overnight. In the meantime, I'm sat on the balcony of the caravan. I've got a drink in my hand. I've just written today's blog post. I'm going to post that out now. It's a beautiful night, so we're going to enjoy the evening and wake up tomorrow fresh and see what opportunities the market presents me. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, it does. The main thing is to trade my system, trade my approach, and excuse me, at all times manage my risk exposure. Well, good morning. Day 42 of the 36-month Forex trading challenge, and I'm here in the Isle of Wight in the caravan we've rented for the week. It's day 42, as I've said, and overnight my New Zealand dollar, US dollar trade down here somewhere, yeah, looks to have turned around, is now going in my favour, so that's good news. It's a beautiful day today. We're going to be out and about, so it's going to be difficult to check in with the charts, but let's have a quick look into the charts now and a quick run through as to what's happening and what the potential opportunities are. So first up, New Zealand dollar, US dollar. This was a trade I've been in for a little while now. Entered here, added here yesterday. This took some pressure yesterday. This was a tweet by Donald Trump, basically saying that the China tariff talks were back on, and the Chinese had come to the table and wanted to put things right, or words to that effect. Then overnight, this has traded down. So a bit of a bounce this morning, post 6 a.m. close, but we're at the top of the daily trend line. If I jump out to the daily, we're kind of halfway between the weekly trend lines. So at the moment, all the signals are pointing south. My job is to hold. It's never easy holding, particularly when you've added to a position. My stop is only here, but it's outside the 50 simple moving average, which is my benchmark for being on the right side or the wrong side of a trade. So for the moment, just got to be patient, just got to hold. What I've done down here, I have set a limit order on all of my positions to exit down here. This would give me a 1, 2, 3, 3.5 reward to risk ratio on my second position. And the reason I've done that is we are approaching the bottom of the weekly trend line, and also this black line here is the 10, pretty sure it's the 10-year low. I'll find out in a minute. Let's jump out to the weekly, is the 10-year low. So as always, the question with lows of this level, once we get down there, who is left to sell? So I'm going to get out and reassess. Down there, I'm out and about today, as I've said. So I don't want to miss the opportunity to get out at a significant profit. So got those limit orders set in there. Let's put the screen back. There we go. Back to the daily and back to the 240. Okay, let's just quickly look at US dollar CAD. Was stopped out of this position yesterday. Again, this was down to the market reaction to the Trump tweet about the China talks being back on. I'd moved my stop in. I'd done this ahead of hitting my target up here. The reason I'd done that is because this was kind of consolidating. It wasn't really going anywhere. We were failing to make higher highs. It put me on alert that something may be changing or something may not be working. So got out here. Could potentially have sold on this candle here, a trend sell. Probably would have had enough room to go to the 200 simple moving average. didn't sell on that candle. I think probably reflecting on that. Reason for that is I was so, annoyed, if you like, to be stopped out of this position. I failed to see the opposite side of this trade. So there was bias there to the bullish side. What I should have done here is got out of this position and unemotionally gone short, and I would have had be holding a profit now, potentially with more profit down to this level. So yeah, you live and learn. Bit of a mistake there, but that's what trading's all about, learning from your mistakes and trying to do things better next time. Into Swiss franc, Japanese yen, short here. Already took off half of my position on this candle here. We've got a bounce back here. This was really, I think, down to some people perceiving this as the bottom of the range. I think we've got more downside potential here, looking at where we are on the weekly. So I'm holding this position. I'm going to look to add. If we get below this level here, this range mode that I'm currently in, or see the market in, will become a bearish mode. It'll open up my full house strategies in terms of getting short further on this pair. And finally for today, my New Zealand dollar CAD short. This is progressing nicely down now, already taken off half the position here. I'm going to look to potentially add again down into this low level here, which corresponds to the 3-year low. So still some potential to move lower than that. Obviously got to be aware of where I am in terms of the weekly trend lines, these turquoise lines. So we're kind of tracking down towards that level, so we need to be careful that there is enough room to go to add to that position. But yeah, looking to potentially add. I'm out and about today. It's going to be difficult to do that, but just going to hold these trades and see where they take me. Stops in place, and I know what I'm looking at. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, just wait and see what happens. So we're in Shanklin today on the Isle of Wight, and stopped off at this lovely little seaside resort. And guess where we've ended up? The Penny Arcades. So Tuesday afternoon, and on a run, just stopped to take in the view, or some of the views, some excellent views here on top of the Isle of Wight, East Coast. Goodness me. Yeah, this afternoon, spent some time in Shanklin, or this morning I should say, followed by Vents North, can't get my breath, and then went to God's Hill, had some lunch. This really is a beautiful spot. I always like to, in fact, I'm going to pause the video, run a bit more, get to the top. I'm running uphill at the moment, and I'll record some more stuff from there. That's better, just about got my breath back. So it's an afternoon run. Goodness me, it's about 5:30 actually. Had a really good day. The weather is incredible, and whenever I go anywhere or stay anywhere, what I usually like to do is to take my, in fact, let me just show you this. I'm literally in the middle of nowhere on the top of probably one of the most beautiful parts of the Isle of Wight. And there you find a McDonald's cup, disposable cup. Shame on you, McDonald's. We need renewable, recyclable stuff, and shame on you people for dropping litter all over our beautiful countryside. I see it all over the place and it drives me absolutely insane. Anyway, rant over. So just on the way back of this run, done the lion's share already, running back to the caravan park, and I've come across a old Napoleonic fort, which I'm going to take some footage of in a moment. Apparently this was built, I think, in the 1800s. There's
there's one of my other bugbears of the Isle of Wight. There's far too many cars, even up here. But anyway, yeah, so I like to go running, get to spot a load of different stuff, do some exercise, beautiful weather, beautiful views, and come across this Napoleonic fort built in the 1800s to defend from what was deemed to be a possible Napoleonic invasion, which of course never happened, and kind of links a little bit with HMS Victory, which I went to see last week. Of course, Nelson, our great national hero, Admiral Lord Nelson, who defeated Napoleon at Battle of Trafalgar and changed the course of history. One of our greatest British heroes, certainly in my book. Anyway, nearly at the fort, going to take some footage there, going to take some footage of the views, and then I'm going to start the run back to the caravan park. Morning, it is day 43. Loads of rain last night, but the weather has brightened up, and it is around about 11:15. I was up early as usual. I have set a new short position in euro pound on signals in line with my trading rules. What happened after I set that this morning is Boris Johnson, UK Prime Minister, has come out and said that he's going to ask the Queen to suspend Parliament, which will allow, I don't particularly understand all the politics around it, but basically what it means is he's more likely to get a no deal Brexit through and to not have it blocked by other parliamentarians. As a result, what happened, bids on euro pound kind of put some heat on my position. That seems to have stalled now at the 50 and 200 simple moving averages on the 240 chart, and seems to be coming back down. As I always say with the news, it's often just reaction, and the initial move is often the wrong move, and I think we could probably see see that pair fall back past my entry and make for a profitable trade. But as always, don't know, time will tell. There are going to be losing trades. This could very well be one of them, but my risk is managed at all times. The other thing, New Zealand dollar, my shorts is progressing well. That yielded some good profit overnight. Paper profit, of course, not capitalized on that, holding until we get to the bottom of the channel, the trend channel. So yeah, I'm just off to the, as you can see behind me, the hut, to download the last week's, I think it's week 8's, is it week 8 or week 7? Who knows? Last week's video, so I can get that uploaded to YouTube. What I've been quite surprised about is how bad the phone signal, the internet signal is on the Isle of Wight. Lovely place, but seem to be a little bit behind the times in terms of the technology, which has caused a few problems. In fact, the internet on this site is way poorer than the internet I had in the middle of the Mediterranean on the P&O cruise. So there you go, go figure. Anyway, we're going to explore today. Then we're going to go off and see the Needles, one of the Isle of Wight's iconic tourist attractions. Have a look what's down there. Bit of a drive, but nowhere's too far a drive on this island, and see what's what. Weather's not great for beach activity, so we'll go and check that out a little bit later. So we're at the Needles landmark attraction on the Isle of Wight, and there you go, there's the sign in the background. And Sam, what did you think of the Needles?
Yeah.
Commercialised.
Yes.
Why you need an amusement arcade and a ride and all of this kind of stuff to come and see a beautiful classic rock structure formed over goodness knows how many years, I have no idea, but it's a very short trip now and we're on to somewhere else. So we took a little trip along the coast road and made it to Cowes, famous for sailing, and I think they have an international regatta here once a year. So we're going to have a quick look around, the at the water and whatnot, and also have a look into the town. So good morning, day 44 of the 36-month Forex trading challenge, and up bright and early, and it is bright today. The weather's come back on the Isle of Wight. Had some heavy rain yesterday, but the weather is well and truly back. So I think we'll probably head to the beach today. Overnight, some good news for my trades that I'm in. First of all, New Zealand dollar. News out of New Zealand, it's pretty hard to say. News out of New Zealand basically said that there is no good news, basically. So the economy in trouble, basically that sent offers into New Zealand dollar, and all basically people were selling New Zealand dollar overnight, which helped my New Zealand dollar short. And also out of Canada, the Bank of Canada said that they weren't going to cut interest rates anytime soon. There was no need, I think was the term. As a result, my New Zealand dollar CAD short has done particularly well overnight. That's New Zealand dollar offers in that, and then of course bids in Canadian dollar, which sent that pair falling. There's a bit of comeback this morning, bit of pushback, a bit of a retracement as you would expect after a kind of significant-ish move. But what I've done, and I've talked about this today in my blog post, day 44, which you can read at stgforex.tv. What I've done is extended my targets on these pairs. These pairs are both winning pairs at the moment, and my job is to hold them as long as I possibly can. In line with what Jesse Livermore said, it wasn't his thinking, but it was his sitting that made him money. So going to hold those pairs for as long as possible. Now, I talked a bit about fundamentals. Fundamentals, I don't trade them. I look at technical signals. My view is that the fundamentals will show up in the price action, and if I'm using technical indicators, then I'll see the fundamentals turn up in price action at some point and can react to them at that point. So today I think is a special situation where the fundamentals are stacking up with the technicals, and I happen to be in the trade already, so it's kind of a special time for those particular pairs, and this is really an opportunity that I want to leverage as much as I possibly can. But sitting on a trade can be difficult, particularly when you get a retracement, which I've had this morning off those moves overnight. So patience is everything. We're going to head to the beach, I think, to stay away from the charts, which is probably a good thing. The other thing to say is on my euro pound short. Yesterday I mentioned that
Boris Johnson had petitioned the Queen. That apparently has gone through now. Parliament's going to be delayed, and there's some pressure on that trade. Interestingly, the price action closed above, I think it was the 50 simple moving average on the daily chart, but closed below the 250 simple moving averages on the 240 chart. So a little bit of indecision there. I'm holding for the moment. There's no signal to take me out. So I'm going to jump into the charts now and just give a very, very quick overview of those pairs that I'm in, so you can see what I'm talking about on the screen. So here's that news in Forex Factory. Nothing good to say about it, about the New Zealand economy. It's a pretty terrifying title if you're based in New Zealand and in business, but there we go. Then the other piece of news, no need for Bank of, in fact, not no news, but no need. I'll get that right in a minute. No need for Bank of Canada to cut rates, National Bank says. So again, this sent some offers, some bids into CAD, offers into my New Zealand dollar CAD trade. So let's look at the charts now and see where we are. Okay, so this is New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So this was the move down overnight here on the daily chart, excuse me. On the daily chart, goodness me, it's a bit difficult to see. On the daily chart, yeah, we're under all of the simple moving averages in the exponential moving average, so we're all to the offer side. Had this pushback in bids here. Now, just some more news out, just to complicate matters further. And I don't trade the news. My job is to react to it, but when it's my job is to protect myself, sorry, not react to it. My job is to protect myself from it. But when the news is surprise news, it can be difficult to do that. And let's jump in here now. Some news out of China. Chinese spokesperson. Both sides discussing the previously discussed September talks. So this is the trade war with Trump. It looks like they are willing now to resolve the issue with a calm attitude, or via a calm attitude. So as a result of that, this could be the reason that we're seeing bids in this pair. Don't know, bids in New Zealand dollar, bids in Australian dollar. Don't know what the reason is, but that could be it. It doesn't really concern me too much. What concerns me is whether price action is behaving in line with this downward trend that I've identified and I'm looking to leverage. What I have done is extended my targets on New Zealand dollar, US dollar. I brought these down way below here now, and the reason for that is if I look out here at this is the monthly chart, what you can see is there is potential for this pair to fall a lot further. We're kind of getting towards this level. If we close below this 10-year low here, then there's a reasonable possibility we could end up all the way down here, obviously with some toing and throwing back and forth. I want to leverage this trade as much as I can. I've still got a third position to add, so I'm going to hold for an extended period now if I possibly can. Next up, Swiss franc, Japanese yen. We have trended down. There's now a retracement here. I could need to lighten up on this position if the orange line, which is the 10 exponential moving average, crosses above the 30 exponential moving average, the dotted black line. This trade is in profit, so that will be an exit for a profit. And these rules here are designed to either get me out of a losing trade or get me out of a winning trade when the market's telling me that things might be changing. On New Zealand dollar CAD, similar story to New Zealand dollar US dollar, obviously with that announcement by the Bank of Canada in favour of bids on Canadian dollar. So yeah, we've had this retracement back. Again, this could be fueled by the news out with regard to the trade talks, Trump and China, but who knows? That's been back and forth for the last few days. But the trend is still down. This is the daily trend with the gold lines, so we're still down. I've extended my target on this, very similar reasons to New Zealand dollar, US dollar. My job is just to hold and see how far I can take this. I'll get out once my exponential moving averages tell me to get out, but for the moment it's holding this short position for as long as I can. And finally, in no particular order, this is euro pound, so another synthetic pair. I'll jump back to that after my commodity synthetic. So basically, this was the bids yesterday off the Prime Minister petitioning the Queen to suspend Parliament. Some believe this is a kind of strategy to get through a no-deal Brexit and meet the 31st of October deadline, but who knows. So we had these bids. These were resisted by the 50 and 200 simple moving average on the 240 chart. We came down, we're now trading back up, been tested again, trading below. So it's a little confused. This is where I got in. There's no reason to do anything at the moment until this 10 exponential moving average crosses the 30. On the daily, I thought we may be closing. Let me move these annotations. Where are we? Annotations. Hide annotations. I thought we may close below the 50 simple moving average, which is sloping up on the daily. We didn't, but we did close below the 10 exponential moving average on the daily. We're trading above the 50 here, but you know, the offers came in here. We can see by this wick here. So I think it's a little bit undecided. I will lighten up on my position if need be, if this crosses this. But for the moment, we're holding these levels, and I'll stick with this trade in line with my rules.
So change of plan today, not quite beach weather, so we've driven up to Ryde on the north coast of the Isle of Wight to have a quick look and see what's what. Wow, so Ryde's pretty impressive. Probably the best place we've been, I think, on the holiday. Family decided to go and look at the fish. And then behind me there is Portsmouth, which we'll be going to tomorrow. I decided to leave a day earlier. Yeah, gonna be getting the ferry to Portsmouth. Just seen the hovercraft come in, which was pretty impressive. But yeah, I don't know what they're doing, so I better go check it out. So the kids saw somebody crabbing at Ryde. So we've come back, had lunch, and now we're going off, all kitted out to go crabbing.
What are we doing today, Charlie?
Crab.
What are we doing today, Maxie?
Crabbing.
How many have we caught?
5.
A few.
So we're here at the top of Culver Down. Been to Ryde. Ryde was awesome, really nice, really nice. Exactly what I expected of the Isle of Wight. Beautiful beach, did some crabbing, and behind you can see somewhere where we're staying. Ran up here the other day, just stopped to take some photographs, and then we're going to pop back, have a drink, relax, and the kids are fine in the car. Oh dear, better go, and yeah, we'll manage to check in for 6 PM close. Be keeping an eye on things, and not a lot is happening today, but I'll see you later. So good morning, Friday morning, day 45, I think, and on the ferry from Isle of Wight back to Portsmouth. I had a complete nightmare this morning. I booked the ferry, I thought, for 8:30, and when I came to check it, I realised that actually I booked it the wrong way around. So I'd booked it from Portsmouth back to the Isle of Wight. So jumped online and managed to get a ferry, but half an hour earlier. from the Isle of Wight back to the mainland. So feeling pretty stressed. Oh, there's an announcement. Didn't manage to have any breakfast, but never mind. It was a pretty stressful drive to get onto the ferry. This ferry is much nicer than the Red Funnel ferry that we came out on. White Link, much better and a lot less crowded. So had a really good week in the Isle of Wight. Decided to come back a day earlier. We're going to go to Bicester Village later on the way back home. Overnight, getting back to the trading, had a pretty good overnight activity, basically, this is really annoying in the background. My trades are going in the right direction. My New Zealand dollar, US dollar short is progressing well, and also my New Zealand dollar CAD short is progressing well. Had a problem while we were here at the caravan park with the internet, and last night got a signal on Swiss francs, Japanese yen to go short, but couldn't take it because couldn't get an internet signal. Wake up this morning and 50 pips in the money I would have been, but that's one of the hazards of trading on the move. But never mind, I'm gonna enjoy the journey, and that's it from our week at the Isle of Wight. I'll record a video a bit later on today, just summarising the trades that have taken place this week and where we are at the close. So it's Saturday and running a few errands this morning. Yesterday, really long drive back from the Isle of Wight, and stopped off at Bicester Village near Oxford, did some shopping, which was really good, and got back around about 6 p.m. So wasn't in front of the charts at all really yesterday, but was pleasantly surprised when I got home. My 4 positions, 3 of which are now in profits. Euro pound short is in a better position than it was, despite the news in the press about Boris Johnson suspending Parliament. Much of the strength in that short, I think, is due to euro weakness. And what we saw yesterday, pretty much the last trading day of the month, there seemed to be a flood of bids in US dollar. This helped my New Zealand dollar, US dollar short. Had a really good finish to the month. The results aren't in yet. They won't be in until the current trades have closed out. If I open a trade in the month, then that trade counts towards that month whenever it closes. So holding these trades for as long as I possibly can, unless my signals show up and tell me to get out. So I'm going to run a few more errands, and then I'll jump into the charts, give a quick roundup for the week, and that'll be it. We'll be into a new month next week, and new opportunities, new things to be looking at, and as always, pretty excited for that. So here's where we finished the month and week on New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Floods of bids into US dollar has helped this pair. I shorted here and shorted here again. 50 simple moving average is coming down, is within my second entry, so there's an opportunity now to move this stop closer to reduce my risk on this pair. Holding this pair for the longer term. We're still tracking the top of the daily trend line. I think this pair has got a lot further to fall. Saw some bids on the final candle, 10 p.m. close. Probably people taking profit on what happened during the day, but we'll see where we get to next week on this pair. But for the moment, I'm holding firm.
On my euro pound short, this trade has kind of bounced up and down since my entry. There is news in the UK that the Parliament has been suspended. There were protests today around the country, and on its own, if you just watch the news, you'd probably think, well, that would be bad for this particular pair. This weakness in this pair is predominantly driven by bids into euro US dollar. So euro US dollar fell considerably on Friday. As a result, that's helped this pair. So this is a result of euro weakness as opposed to pound strength. But you know, looking for this pair now to push down below this level here, trigger these stops that will sit at around about this level, and then we could be on for the target, which is set down here. On my other synthetic trade, this trade is I've took off a third of the position up here. I've not added to this position yet. We have hit target. What was frustrating is that on where are we here? Yeah, on this candle here, 6 p.m. On the 29th, I got an opportunity. This is Thursday. Got an opportunity to add to this position in line with my rules. 2S tests of the 50 simple moving average. As it says here, I missed the entry as the internet was poor. So we were on the Isle of Wight. Couldn't get a decent internet signal. I was connecting to my phone actually to try and get the data feed, try and get my broker account up. Couldn't get it. As a result, I missed a 65 pip move south. This happens. This is one of the downsides of trading on the move, but c'est la vie. I may get an opportunity from a bounce here to get in and to add to that position. Well, to add my second position to my initial position. Then the final trade that I'm in, I've got position 1 here, added position 2 here. It's a kind of similar trade, I guess, to New Zealand dollar, US dollar. This is New Zealand dollar CAD. There were offers on this pair on Friday, last couple of candles. So for the latter part of the day, there were bids. This is possibly profit taking. Again, I think we can see more downside momentum in this pair, so I'm holding for the longer term. So 4 trades in total to finish the week and the month on from Monday, or from tomorrow, which is Sunday. Well, from Monday trading week, the trading week will be open. This will be September, and once the results come in for these trades having closed, I'll be able to close the books on August and see where we are. But excited for another month. It's been a pretty good end to this month, and the 36-month Forex trading challenge continues.
Stories, I'm a fool for your love.